social worker or therapist. Your list of accomplishments are so long, but Deona is a certified MHA therapist.
Imago. It's okay. Everyone miss.
Imago,
It's
Imago.
okay.
Thank you for correcting me on that. We'll have to learn more about that.
Yeah.
She's trained in mindfulness-based stress reduction, which I think we all need some of that. And she is currently in private practice here in Charlotte, North Carolina. So great to have you back with us, Deona. We wanted to have you with us because the last time that you came on Mental Health Matters, I just felt at the end of that just lifted up, feeling positive, and I feel like we're continuing to feel this stress just raining down on us every day. We're living in a world that's just so chaotic. And so just being together with everyone today and trying to have a positive mindset and learn more about how we can nurture our mental health during this time is the reason we're together. So
Nice.
Glad you're here.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I am so grateful to be here, and hopefully this next 30 minutes will be refreshing.
That sounds good. So as always, I always want to ask personally, how are you coping with all the chaos in the world?
Yeah, so like many of you all, I think there are moments that I feel heavy, and there are moments that I just take it for what, life for what it is, and I make sure that I am present. But I'm doing okay, but it doesn't come easy. I mean, everything that I'll be sharing today, everything that I encourage clients to do, I'm doing as well. And I think I may have said this the last time I was on. This is the first time throughout my professional career, that I'm actually experiencing the same type of trauma that I'm treating, or I'm experiencing the same thing. We're all in the middle of a global pandemic. We're all, looking at the results of, social unrest. We all see what's going on around the world and in other countries and with climate change. So I'm right here with all of you. But what's different about me versus someone who's just kind of going day to day, watching the news on social media, et cetera, is I'm choosing to care for my whole self. I'm choosing to take care of myself. I'm choosing to take moments to just breathe. And that's what's important. But today, in this moment, I'm doing well. I'm doing okay. And moments when I'm not, I'm able to be very honest about that and communicate that I'm not okay.
That's good advice for all of us, for sure. And it does feel like there's a lot of heaviness, as you mentioned. That word is a good word to use, feeling heavy. And it's been this way for a while. I was thinking earlier today about ACEs and the adverse childhood experiences, and how the more trauma that we have on us, we're in this fight or flight mode, and the impact that has on our physical health. So how does that prolonged sense of uncertainty around COVID and then all of the other world events, how is that impacting our mental health, Deona?
Well, I think the more and it's not that we can escape it, but the fact that we recognize that these things are going on, it impacts our mental health heavily. And if we're not caring for ourselves, so when you think about it, anytime we're wired for survival, so our brains are wired for survival. So anytime we experience trauma or anxiety or stress, our body naturally responds. So because we have this prolonged sense of uncertainty, there are a lot of us that are sort of navigating through life in this fight or flight mode. Our bodies never return to a state of homeostasis, or our bodies never return to that state of normalcy where we feel like we're able to just breathe, we're able to relax. And sometimes we don't even know it. And, we've been in the middle of this pandemic for over a year and a half. So many of us have sort of been just navigating through life. And every time we see someone with a mask, Every time we hear someone cough, or every time if we're sending our children to school, it's a reminder that we're not safe. Even if we are safe, or even if we're putting in place precautions that help us to feel safer, there's still this perceived
Mhm.
there's this perceived threat. And our brain is wired to, whether it's a perceived threat or a real threat, our body is responding as if there is a threat. So I think I'm going on, but I hope I'm answering your
No,
question.
that's
So how we take care of our mental health is being able to have a sense of awareness that this is going on, and stopping, and again, returning to the present moment. In this moment, I am okay. In this moment, my children are okay.
mhm,
In this moment, although, hospitals are filled, healthcare workers are doing the best that they can do,
mhm.
we have to return to the present moment, because that's what we have. We have now. And when we start like kind of projecting or thinking about the future and the outcomes, negative outcomes, that's what begins to just wreak more havoc on our bodies. And if we're in this period of uncertainty and that's what we're focused on, then not only is our psychological health, our mental health, our emotional health impacted, but our immune systems are also weakened. Our physical
Right.
health is also impacted. So
Yeah, definitely. And so I know that we often think about self-care as maybe I'm being selfish, when I focus on taking care of myself. But it really does seem like that needs to be a priority in all of our lives right now. So do you have any suggestions of, how we can bring more calm to our lives and care for our mental health?
yes, the first thing I want to say is self-care is not selfish. If this period of time has taught me anything, is culture will have us thinking that sacrificing ourselves means that we're heroes or it's heroic. But really, we cannot pour from an empty cup. And I don't mean to sound cliche-ish, but one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible talks about how we're supposed to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. As we love ourselves. So we
Right.
have to first love ourselves and care for ourselves. And a lot of people think that self-care is, okay, I'm gonna go shopping at the mall, or I'm gonna take bubble baths, or I'm gonna go get a massage. And all of those things are good. But what I'd like to say is, how are we taking care of our whole self?
Mhm.
Whole self well-being. So how are we taking care of our psychological well-being? How are we taking care of our emotional well-being? How are we taking care of our physical well-being? And there are so many things that we can do that are free. We can
Mhm.
go out in nature. We can stop and breathe. I love meditation, so I'm always going to circle back around to just being able to breathe. But why I'm fascinated with meditation, it's not just the science that proves that it lowers blood pressure, it strengthens our immune system, yada, yada, yada. But when we are feeling like we are in chaos, or when we're feeling like we're anxious or worried or stressed out, we don't have to call anyone or go
Mhm.
anywhere to just stop, pause, and breathe. And that's why I love it so much, because we're able to just do it on our own. We're able to just take a moment, and you don't have to have any type of religious practice or sit in a specific pose or do all of these things that we may see on TV and social media. You can just take a moment and breathe. Let's do that very quickly. I know we're talking, but
Yeah, let's
let's
do
just
it.
take a moment and just take a deep breath in. Now let it out. And let's take another deep breath in and let it out. You can do that anywhere at any time. Maybe not as dramatic as what I
Mhm.
just did. You don't want to be sitting in a boardroom if you're at work or on a call and you just, breathing with your eyes closed, but you can just inhale and exhale no matter where you're at.
Mhm.
So I think when you recognize that things are chaotic, just being still. Rest is still doing something. For those people that have to be doing something or feel like they have to go, 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 taking the time to stop and rest is doing something.
That's so true. And you're right. I think we think of those things that cost money, a massage, a facial,
Right.
retail therapy, as you mentioned.
Right.
Uh, I, we had such gorgeous weather this past weekend, and this I thought about a lot. I was out, taking a walk on this beautiful trail and enjoying it. But I found myself, Deanna, thinking, oh my gosh, there's so many people who are been impacted by the hurricane, by the fires out. It's like there's this feeling of guilt and I know that's not, we should practice that gratitude at
Right.
that moment, but it's like I'm feeling that gratitude. And then my next thought is about all the suffering and chaos and everything in the world,
Right.
which I think kind of negates that good feeling and can impact our mental health.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it can, but I think I want to encourage people not to fall into sort of that toxic positivity path. You're saying, I hear you saying that you were outdoors, it was very beautiful, and you just had such a sense of gratitude for
yeah.
just the
Mhm.
beauty and being outdoors and being connected with nature. But then you notice where things shifted and you begin to think about the suffering going on in this world and the impact of the hurricane and the wildfires and all that's going on in this world. I think you have to, in that moment, allow yourself to feel it.
Mhm.
But then, in order to shift back to that state of homeostasis, what we have to begin to do is just like you love on yourself when you know you need it, or you love on your children or others. Right now, you need a hug or you need kindness. Send loving kindness. These people that are suffering or experiencing the aftermath of the hurricane or experiencing wildfires or fighting for their lives with COVID-19, they may never see you, talk to you, know you, but just may you be well to those people that are experiencing the aftermath of the hurricane. May you be well. May you feel love. May you feel peace. You're sending loving kindness to those places where you may never tread with your feet, people you may never touch with your hands, but you're thinking about them. And that's part of the human experience
Right.
because we're all connected. That's part of the human experience. So then, once you've done that, and I want you to do it because that won't be the only time that comes up, that guilt,
Yeah.
because you're in nature and you're feeling good and you're healthy and you're safe. But for those people that may not be experiencing that, may I send loving kindness their way. May I say a prayer for them, covering them. Yes,
Mhm. Yes,
yes.
yes.
So don't think about it. And it's easy for me to sit over here and say, Kathy, don't think about it. But like, don't think about it as a failure or somehow you're going from gratitude to like gloom and doom. You're shifting from gratitude to really wanting others in this world to experience the peace and the joy that you were experiencing in that moment.
Thank you for that.
Yes,
Yes, for putting it that way.
yes.
As we continue our discussion with Deanna, if you have any questions for her, or if you want to share
Yeah.
some things that you've been doing to take care of yourself, you can do that in the chat. Um, but you mentioned our children. What should we be looking for in our children right now, and just those that we love, that are around us?
Yeah. Well, the thing about children is, every child is different, and you really have to pay attention to their age and their developmental level. But, our children are very much in the same mode that we're in as adults. And sometimes we
Mhm.
think that our children, because they're young and because we're caretakers, that they're not experiencing what we're experiencing as well. But your children better than anyone else. So pay attention when
Mhm.
their behaviors are not as they usually are, and anything that's different about their behaviors. And I want to normalize that, they're in the middle of a global pandemic. Some of them are returning to school for the first time in over a year. So, they may act different. Some of them are moving from one stage of development to the next. But some things that you will see in children that are experiencing trauma, because this is traumatizing, is fear. Fear of going outside, attachment, fear of leaving your side. For many tweens and adolescents and teens, you may be experiencing anger because
Mhm.
they're scared. There's anger, there's depression. Some children, their eating habits may change. Anything that just seems out of the norm, pay attention to those things, but also communicate with your kids and allow them to say, I'm afraid.
Mhm.
I'm scared. I'm scared that you're going to get sick. I'm scared that daddy's going to get sick. Or we just lost grandma. Allow them to articulate what's going on with them. And then recognize, depending on the age of the child, they may not have the words to express themselves. So if they're acting out in a manner that doesn't seem normal or as your child would act, just pay attention to those things. Yes. And for adults, the same thing.
Mhm.
If you're used to talking to someone or seeing someone, I know things are different now, but in the grocery store, in the neighborhood, pay attention to those things. If someone's disappeared or if we're already isolated, but if someone is more isolated than the norm, pay attention to those things. Pay attention to what people say. If people are sharing like this loss of desire to live, we're in suicide awareness prevention month.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
pay attention to like those type of statements, like a loss of zeal of life. I mean, it's hard, but pay attention to when people are communicating, and it seems like they need some love and some support.
Yes, and we should always take that seriously
Yes.
if we hear that. So what are some other or do we have any questions, Andrea, from anybody or any comments, anybody? No?
Not yet, but you all are welcome. I know we said you didn't have to turn your cameras on, but you're welcome to at any time. We still have about 12 more minutes. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
Deanna would love to answer your questions.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
sharing some concerns that maybe you're having right now.
Yeah.
But as we wait for folks to unmute or to share, are there any other practical tips for us, Deanna, as we go through our day-to-day? Sometimes I think trying to take care of our mental health can seem overwhelming, but I know
Yeah.
there's some simple things that we can do on a day-to-day basis to bring ourselves back to that moment you were speaking about earlier.
Right.
Mhm.
And the first thing I would say is just stop. Like, even if you start your day with a pause and breathe, like, recognize your own humanity. So take a moment and think of something that you're grateful for. Gratitude really does do something
Mhm.
to our body. There are chemicals that are released in the brain and throughout our body when we just really sit and think of something that we're grateful for. And not like something like every day wake up, oh, I'm grateful to be alive. We're grateful to be
Mhm.
alive. But like, be more specific. If it's something that happened the day before, someone smiling at you in the grocery store, or just being grateful to have a break, or, for your children, whatever it is, be very specific. Um, be mindful, go outside. There is no better cure than like nature, being outside. Let the sun shine on your face, even if it's for a couple of minutes a day. Um, be present. Be present. I know a lot of people are talking about mindfulness, but really, take time throughout your day to just come back to the present moment. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you feel? And just choose a part of your body. But these are things that really can help with stress, with anxiety, just being able to be in the present moment. If you feel like you're alone or you need to talk to someone, reaching out. I'm so excited that Mental Health America is offering, free counseling, short-term counseling for people who can't afford counseling or people who may not be able to afford their copay or may have been impacted by COVID. Talking to someone, us having a sense of community is so important. And a lot of us, we didn't recognize or realize it until this time that we're in right now. But just having a sense of community is important. Reaching out when you need help. These are just things that you can do like in the present moment to take care of yourself. Sleep hygiene is important. We think about exercise and eating well and eating living foods, but get enough sleep. We cannot emphasize that enough. Make sure that you are resting. And some people may be able to thrive off of 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Sometimes you may need 9 hours of sleep, but make sure you're getting enough sleep. Our body does its greatest detoxing and healing when we're sleeping. So making sure that you're taking care of yourself in that regard.
That's great advice. And what you said about community, we are all living through the same thing, right
Yes.
now. No one is not impacted by this pandemic, whether whatever side of you're on, it's impacting our lives. So, and our children and those around us.
Right.
So I would love to open it up and have people share maybe what you're either feeling right now or some things that have helped you get through these past several months. Don't be shy. I know Deona would love, we can learn from each other. And you don't have to turn your camera on.
Yeah, well, while we're waiting for someone to volunteer to go, I'll go because again, I'm a clinician. And a lot of people think that I'm on the other side, but I'm right in it with you. So I've been in, of course I have a therapist. So I've been in therapy. I meditate. I've created a community where women get together and we talk about what's going on, not only with the pandemic, but just life in general. So just having that sense of community, I have family and friends that, I connect with and I lean on, sorority sisters that I connect with and I lean on. Those are things that I do. Have a lot of fun with my children. Outdoors. Those are things that I've been doing during this time to just take care of my mental health and make sure that I feel ease and calm and I'm not just focusing on all that's going on around me.
Right. Come, Margaret.
Yes. Good afternoon
Hi.
to the panel, Miss Kathy, my sister, Deona Frierson. I just wanted to say, I think this session has been very informative. I am a retired combat veteran and presently experiencing all of the unrest in reference to Afghanistan, coupled with the hurricane, Louisiana, then former resident of New York and experiencing friends and loved ones having gone through the storm. I'm appreciative of the mindfulness and the sharing of the various things that we can do to help our body as well from the psychological standpoint, and also being able to learn just how important breathing is and how to relax. So want to thank my sister Deona Frierson for sharing all of this information with us today. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And as I mentioned to her, I would like to continue to participate, even though I myself have been in therapy for probably going on 10 years now. As I said, as coming back as a combat veteran from Iraq. And so I think it's very important that individuals recognize that it's nothing wrong with getting counseling. It's nothing wrong with receiving information from others. Sometimes we tend to, we might have grown up in an environment where, you know, you would go to the church or you would talk to the minister and all, but sometimes we have to come outside of that enclosed neighborhood that we have surrounded ourselves with and reach out to be able to talk to others who can share and enlighten and help us to kind of integrate back into various things within our lives. I think that's the way I would put it. And I am very grateful to have participated in this session today. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
So glad you're with us, Margaret.
Yes, thank you. And you're absolutely right. I mean, there are other ways that we can seek help, and we have to, when we begin to think about the stigma around like mental health counseling, even when we speak of mental health or mental wellness, I think people automatically go to like the diagnoses or there's something wrong or make it problematic. And that's not necessarily the case. It's us really wanting to be well and stay well. It's no different than going to the doctor for our physical health. It's no different than any other type of treatment. So thank you so much for sharing. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to be a part.
Yes.
You know, you're so right. When we talk about mental wellness and mental health, people, you go to the negative.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's just like nutrition, and as you said, sleep for our physical, but it helps our mental health. It's all connected. We can't take this head off of this body. So would anyone else like to share their thoughts or how they've been coping during this time? You know, I was just thinking that in June, we thought there've been some highs, so many highs and lows during this past 18 months or so, because in June, we thought we were coming out of this. And then we mentioned our healthcare workers, just sending out some positive vibes and thoughts to them right now, because again, they're struggling and overwhelmed. And our veterans, Margaret, thank you for your service and everything. You know, the pullout from Afghanistan has had effects on our veteran population as well. So,
Yes. Well, I see we only have like a moment or two left. I definitely want to leave us with we talked about a loving kindness meditation. I want us to just take a moment to just breathe and really not only focus on ourselves and our community, but also the world. So if that's okay, I'd like to leave us with that. So if you feel comfortable, and most of you already have your cameras off, go ahead and close your eyes. Only if you feel comfortable. If you feel scared or triggered or as if you're unsafe, you definitely can leave your eyes open. I want to be mindful to those of you who have experienced any type of trauma. But with your eyes closed, I want you to just take a deep breath in and let it out. And go ahead and take another deep breath in and let it out. And as you continue to breathe slowly, I want you to place your hands on your chest, in the middle of your chest. And I want you to just send yourself this message. May you be well. May you feel loved. And just allow yourself to feel that and just breathe. And now I want you to just think of someone that may be on your mind, on your heart. It could be your community. It could be the school system. It could be the healthcare workers. And I want you to just do the same thing. And I want you to just send that message. May you be well. May you feel loved. And now I just want you to picture the earth, whether it's a globe, whether you can visualize the actual planet, but just picture the earth. And again, just send the message, may you be well. May you feel love. May you experience peace. May you experience wholeness. And go ahead and just take one more deep breath in and let it out. And whenever you're ready, open your eyes.
Thank you so much, Deanna. That's such a great way to bring an end to this conversation about nurturing our mental health in such a chaotic world. I just, if we could just take that moment and do that. So thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome. Thank you for
appreciate-
having me.
Thank you. I appreciate all of you being with us. And if you are struggling and you need help, MHA does have the free counseling program. We have counselors listed on our website and our directory. If you have insurance and you're just looking for a clinician, but we hope that you'll join us again for another Mental Health Matters. And again, take that moment today to just live in that moment. I think that's all we can do.
Yes.
So thank you all again for being with us. Yeah, thank you,
Bye.
everybody. Thank you so much, Deanna.
You're welcome.